You're looking at your own skin right now, and you're probably not thinking about evolution. But your skin color is actually one of the most recent and dramatic transformations in human history. And it all happened because of sunlight. Here's the thing that surprises most people. Your ancient ancestors weren't white. They weren't even close. They were dark, deeply, intensely dark. And for over 1,000,000 years, that darkness was the difference between survival and death. Then something changed. Populations began moving north, and their skin got lighter, dramatically lighter. In just thousands of years, a blink in evolutionary time, some humans completely transformed their skin color. So what actually happened? Why did ancient humans go from black to white? And more importantly, what does that tell us about human differences today? The answer comes from an anthropologist named Nina Jablonski at Penn State University. She spent decades studying skin, and what she found completely rewrites how we should think about human color variation. Let's start at the beginning. When your ancestors first stood up and started walking on two legs, they were still covered in hair, thick hair, dark hair. And underneath that hair, they had pale skin, similar to what chimpanzees have today if you shave them. That pale skin was fine because it was covered, but then something changed. Around 1.2 million years ago, early humans began losing that body hair. They lost it quickly. Evolutionarily speaking, it happened almost overnight. But why would your ancestors want to lose their insulation? Why would evolution favor less hair in the African heat? The answer is simple: cooling. Your ancestors were spending more time on the open savanna. They were hunting. They were moving long distances. And in the intense African heat, a body covered in thick hair overheats. It kills you. So evolution favored hairlessness. Humans who could sweat and stay cool survived. Humans who couldn't overheat died. Problem solved. Except for one small issue. Without hair, their skin was now completely exposed to the sun. And African sunlight doesn't ask permission. It's intense, relentless. UV radiation cuts through you like a knife. Without protection, your DNA gets damaged. Your cells mutate. Melanoma develops. You get sick and you die before you reproduce. Evolution doesn't accept that outcome. So what does evolution do? It adds sunscreen. And not the stuff you buy at the pharmacy. Over time, humans who developed darker skin rich in melanin, a natural pigment that absorbs UV radiation, survived more often than those with lighter skin. Their children inherited that dark skin. And over thousands of generations, African populations became deeply, profoundly dark-skinned. This wasn't random. This wasn't arbitrary. This was evolution solving a specific problem. How do you survive intense, year-round equatorial sunlight? And it worked beautifully. For hundreds of thousands of years, dark skin was the human default across the entire planet. Then humans did something remarkable. They left Africa. Starting around 70,000 years ago, groups of humans began migrating north. They moved into the Middle East, into Europe, into Asia, into regions where the sun was weaker, seasonal, where the sunlight was only intense for part of the year, and crucially, where that sunlight had to penetrate clouds, atmosphere, and winter months that lasted for months. Now here's where evolution gets interesting, because it does something counterintuitive. In these northern regions, dark skin became a liability. Not because it looked different, evolution doesn't care about appearance, but because it literally blocked too much UV radiation. You need UV radiation to produce vitamin D. Vitamin D is essential. It helps your body absorb calcium. Without calcium, your bones don't develop properly. Children develop rickets. Their bones become soft and curved. They can't hunt. They can't survive. Women with weak bones can't bear healthy children. So in northern populations, evolution favored something different. It favored lighter skin. Skin that allowed more UV radiation to penetrate. Skin that could produce enough vitamin D even in weak seasonal sunlight. And this evolution happened fast, really fast. Cheddar Man is a skeleton found in Britain that's about 10,000 years old. That's recent in evolutionary terms. His DNA tells us he had dark skin, dark African-type skin. In Britain, 10,000 years ago. Pale skin in Northern Europe? That's not ancient. It's genuinely modern. It evolved within the last few thousand years as populations adapted to northern latitudes. And here's the thing that Jablonski emphasizes repeatedly, because it matters. This happened multiple times, independently, in different populations. Populations that migrated to northern Europe developed lighter skin. Populations that migrated to East Asia developed lighter skin. But they evolved different types of lightness, different genetic pathways. Because evolution doesn't have a blueprint, it just responds to sunlight. Humans in darker equatorial regions who stayed in place stayed dark-skinned. Humans in regions with moderate sunlight developed intermediate skin tones. It's like an automatic adjustment. Your body adapts to its environment. Over generations, that adaptation becomes genetic. This is the part that completely changes how we should think about racial categories. Because here's what the research actually shows. Skin color is not a fundamental human difference. It's a superficial response to sunlight, controlled by a handful of genes. A handful, that's it. Meanwhile, the rest of your DNA, the genes that determine your intelligence, your personality, your abilities, your potential, those are almost identical across all humans. You and someone from any other part of the world share 99.9% of your DNA. The differences in skin color are genetic noise layered on top of a species that is fundamentally, profoundly similar. The racial categories that Europeans created in the 18th century, those categories weren't based on biology. They were based on appearance. They were based on skin color. And we now know that skin color evolved multiple times independently based on nothing more than latitude and sunlight exposure. So when you look at human skin color across the world, you're not looking at fundamental racial divisions. You're looking at human adaptation. You're looking at evolution solving a problem. How do we survive in different parts of the world? Your ancestors went from black to white, and from white to brown to every shade in between, not because of any deep biological difference, but because sunlight changed, because geography changed, because humans kept moving, and their bodies kept adapting. That's the real story, not one of division, but one of adaptation, of movement, of humans learning to survive in every corner of the planet. And if you want to understand where you came from, that's where it starts. With sun, with migration, and with evolution doing exactly what it's designed to do, help you survive.